Welcome, everyone, wrestling friends. We are back. This is Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, the Danaconda, Dirty Dan Cesnet. Dan, how's everything going, man? How was your holiday?
My holiday was really good. Just immediate family in the house, nothing crazy. We don't do turkey at my house. We're non-traditional when it comes to that. So,
What do
just
you
because
eat?
it's a pain in the ass to cook. So we do duck.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's it's really good.
Duck's
You should
easier
try.
to cook than turkey?
We just do duck breasts, man. It's crazy.
Oh,
You should try it.
okay. I've
They're,
had Peking duck before.
Peking duck is really good too. That's kind of a pain in the ass to cook, but I
Yeah,
digress.
I mean, I've had it at restaurants. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
not really. Not a
yeah,
home cook thing.
we had our turkey. I still have some leftover turkey. Maybe I'll make a turkey salad or something. I don't know. It's just kind of sitting there because I ate everything else, you know?
Wow, you
Um,
still have turkey left. That's impressive.
did I ever mention to you that I hate the green screen that I own? It just fell on the ground.
Yeah, it's never
Thing is,
been a really good green screen. I actually was just Googling some new ones myself, so I think that
yeah.
in the market. As you can see today, I'm in my wife's office / my bedroom instead of my normal recording studio. So
It is just the most poorly designed thing I have ever bought. I'm just looking at it right now. It's just like it's got these clamps on it, and that's how you hold it together. Like, wouldn't it make more sense for it to be like, you know, almost like a scroll type thing that you pull down?
yeah, you can get those. They're about $130 on Amazon.
Okay.
So,
Well, this thing's a piece of shit, and I'm probably just not going to use it for the rest of the show, to be
okay.
honest with you.
Well,
Um,
we're 2 minutes in and we haven't talked about wrestling at all. So I
we
suppose
haven't
we
talked
get
about
to it.
wrestling because life is reality is kind of crazy,
It
but
comes
at
at you
least
fast.
that we never been so happy to just have wrestling in our lives as an escape from the terrible reality that is life. Um,
Yes.
now, I think that the most appropriate thing for us to talk about first is what we saw go down on Monday, which, honest to God, like, I don't even know. I don't think this would be recency bias because I was just thinking about everything that has happened this past year in wrestling. This might be the most impactful promo segment of the year with the New Day.
Because of longevity of the New Day, I'll say yes. I
Mm-hmm.
would say the Hangman burning down Swerve's house was pretty impactful. Um,
Yeah, but like this hit us right in the core, like breaking our hearts.
yes. No,
Like you knew that Hangman was gonna do something dastardly. This
yes.
was a swerve that just kind of hit deep. It just like hit us on a different level. Like nobody ever really saw it coming. Um,
It's
and
nice to be surprised once in a while in wrestling because I think
yeah,
it doesn't happen often enough in a good way. It
yeah.
happens often
So
enough in a bad way,
if
but
you're listening right now, if you've been living under a rock, you saw Monday Night Raw, the New Day 10th anniversary celebration, which kind of was setting the table for a breakup between Xavier and Kofi Kingston. I mean,
and had been
that's
for the
kind of
past 3 months.
that's how it's been built for the last few months. Yeah. Um, so we were expecting that to happen. Biggie comes out. Biggie makes an offer that he is willing to become their manager to make things right for them so they can start getting back on the right foot and bring back some of that old New Day, energy. And man, did he get absolutely obliterated by Woods and Kofi. And they were just hitting deep, saying, you know, this guy came back from neck injury. This guy came back from neck injury. You left us for a woman. Just really, really cold blooded. by both Xavier and Kofi. And, you'd expect that from Xavier. We kind of saw shades of him turning heel.
Yeah.
But for Kofi to do it, Kofi just kind of seemed to be in this rarefied babyface air, very similar to that of like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, where you can't really see him becoming too much of a heel, but we definitely saw it.
I just think his baby face highs are so high that it's hard to believe it, but I know that he's got the ability to do
I
it.
think he does, and I think that just with this small sample size of what he did, he showed um just how vicious he can be. And man, bro, like if this doesn't get everyone just excited for what's going to happen next on Raw, I don't know what would. I
What do
mean, this
you
is
what do you think the direction is now with Woods and Kofi? I mean, now that they're a proper tag team, still technically, I mean, or do you think that they go on singles runs but still stay, together?
I think the first thing is they are going to be a tag team. They're going to reclaim the tag team titles. Um, Somehow they got to get those belts. Like I imagine maybe like the War Raiders are going to beat Finn and JD for the tag team titles, just because of, like a lot of nothing happening in that
Yeah,
division right now.
yeah, it's really sad.
So, and I think the War Raiders are kind of being positioned as baby faces right now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think they've always kind of been baby faces.
before Eric got injured that last time, they definitely had like more of a heel presentation. They were more vicious.
Yeah,
I think Vince preferred them as heels. I think they're cooler as like monster baby faces.
me too.
Anyway, I think that they've, reclaimed the tag team titles from like the War Raiders. They go on another big run. Um, and eventually I think it leads to Kofi, trying to not even trying, just like taking matters into his own hands and going after the world title again, but it's going to be a different Kofi Kingston. And we may even see like, Xavier Woods going after the Intercontinental title. Who knows? Maybe it'll be flipped, we don't know how, but like I think the feeling of us not knowing exactly how this is going to go is exciting to me.
This is a huge turn, and if it gets wasted for some bullshit, it's going to be really sad. Now, my question is, obviously the pop that Big E got when he came back was gigantic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just good to see him back. Obviously, he's on the pre and the post shows and whatnot, but to see him actually in the arena is different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, in your heart of hearts, think that E comes back to wrestle? And Matt, and how big is that pop going to be if he does come back and clean house on these guys?
I don't know when. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I do think he eventually comes back and wrestles. And I say that based on the fact that we've seen the impossible happen with Brian. We've seen it happen with Edge.
Yeah.
We've seen it happen with
Paige.
Paige.
Yeah.
So like anything is possible. I think he does eventually come back. I don't know if it's gonna be this year. Um I
mean,
think for the beginning stages of this turn, his presence is necessary.
yeah.
Like I think over the next like couple of weeks, wrestling or not, Biggie should be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Big E's the biggest baby face on the fucking planet right
Mhm.
now, and tends to be in general. So, what's an easier heel turn than to have them turn on him? I just
And you
hope
know
that
what? You know what I thought about with this heel turn too?
uh
I think maybe the benefit of Biggie not being able to do anything physical was kind of a blessing in disguise, because if they like kind of attacked Big E and just like did a turn like that. We've seen that happen so many times. I feel like the way that this happened with them just like really going there with Big E and just like getting really personal and
Yeah.
making us feel uncomfortable was just like a totally different flavor than what we're used to
Well,
when we're
yeah,
seeing heel
you
turns,
have to
you
work
know?
that much harder to have the fans hate you when you emotionally attack somebody because
Hmm.
it's hard to convey that. It's hard to pull that out, and make it feel real,
Hmm.
and you had to make it feel real, and they knocked it out of the park. It was a really fantastic segment.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. This stole the show for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are other good things that happen on Raw, but in terms of water cooler conversation for the wrestling crowd, this dominated the week.
Yeah, I
Would it
mean,
not? Did it not?
Drew returned, and you still this is still the biggest story, right?
Hmm.
And there's a couple of really good promo segments on this same show too, but it's really going to be the segment of the show, and let's say at least the wrestling quarter, right? Maybe not the whole year. I'd have to think back, but it
I think
has.
it might be the whole year. I think about it, like then again, like the bloodline stuff leading up to WrestleMania, it was good. It was great. Um, this just hit us in a completely different way that like
Yeah,
I can't really compare it to anything else.
these are
You know what I mean?
beloved guys.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for them because these are face of the company type guys that
Hmm.
do so much, and now you take them and you turn them, and
Hmm.
now what happens, right? You
Right.
can't. I mean, kayfabe is dead, but still, like, you have to play the character in real life sometimes,
And
and
let's be honest too. Like as much as we love the New Day, don't you think it's fair to say that the act in its previous incarnation had kind of run its course? They had kind of proven everything they could. They won the tag titles. Kofi became champion. Big E became champion. Xavier Woods won the King of the Ring. They had accolade after accolade. I just think that this was the right time, and yeah, I'm excited, very excited to see what happens next.
it's fresh, it's new, it has a lot of potential.
Hmm.
Um, I'm here for it. And if I get to see Big E on TV more, that's really good too, especially an angry Big E,
Yeah,
a guy that's looking for some revenge. Um,
I did not get a chance to do it yet. I had been meaning to. Did you read the Players Tribune article that he put out?
have not.
Okay, just wanted to ask about that because apparently he gets really personal in that too. Just
Yeah,
kind of
and
like,
that came out before the turn that night. It came out earlier the day, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Hmm.
I just haven't gotten to it.
Oh man. Well, that was just I. My God, no words. That just might be the segment of the year once again. But let's talk about what happened this past weekend at Survivor Series, shall we?
Yes, I actually watched Survivor Series. I'm proud of myself. Um, I didn't watch it live, but I watched it in its entirety. And I just want to say off the rip, and I know that we're going to talk some AEW and the goods and bads later on, but and I am not often a praiser of WWE, but I think that they finally nailed their PLE or pay-per-view format, as it were, right? With the few matches, because I never really watch it live, so I can fast forward through all the fluff and I get 5 really good matches.
Yeah, I personally feel like they have been nailing it. I
Yeah.
mean, going all the way back to the first Clash of the Castle. They've Triple H gets it. Especially also putting the show on a Saturday night is really nice thing for them too.
It's always just the best thing about it, and I think
Mhm.
that they do that on weekends that UFC doesn't run, if I'm not mistaken. So
Mhm.
that's always a good thing.
Oh
Uh,
man, and you know what? Maybe Triple H sees how those UFC pay-per-views are run, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're not gonna do all this fucking horse shit waiting around for the fight to begin." Like
yeah.
if you want to talk about a lot of just wasted time, watch a UFC pay-per-view. Not
Oh,
taken away from any of the fights that happen because there's always good fights, but
there's so much
Jesus
filler garbage.
Christ.
When your main event doesn't start till close to midnight, that's that.
Sometimes it's
No,
like 1 a.m., man.
it's not for me. Yeah, no, I know.
No.
That's why I'll
Yeah.
see the highlights the next day. I'm shocked I stayed up as late as I did for Tyson Paul, as late as that went off.
That was a time waster too. My God.
I will say that I was sports entertained. You know what I mean? But that was so long ago. We don't need to bring it back up. Let's talk about
Yeah.
Survivor Series. You want me to just run down the card?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Let's just
right.
do that.
So kicking it off was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bailey wrestling the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae in the Women's War Games match. I always love when they bookend War Games.
Yeah, it's good. And this set a pretty high bar. If I had to give an MVP for this match, 100% without a doubt, Io Sky.
I think this is her signature kind of thing, right?
Yeah, she
Even
wears the
though
trash
she
can.
did the same thing that she did,
But I don't think she did a moonsault last time. I think the last time she just kind of like did a big dive, and it's impressive because
I,
you
I
have
mean,
something over you.
either
And
way, you're doing a blind jump into a bunch of people not
yeah,
knowing what the
and
hell's
she did
going to
it
happen.
perfectly. And not
But
only that, but like EO just like coming through with with the fire extinguisher going all crazy too. Yeah, she was fucking awesome. I want to see a renewed push for EO Sky. I think she kind of showed a lot in this match how fun of a baby face she is.
yeah, who do you think overall? I mean, do you think that was the best jump or dive or move from the top of the cage all night?
Yes, because it was the most impressive.
Okay, because I thought
Yes.
Tiffany Stratton's was really good,
I thought Tiffany Stratton's Swanton was really good. But
really,
again,
really
like she
good.
wasn't she had the benefit of having
Yeah.
her eyes,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, no,
um
and I was thinking to I mean, Bronson Reed did
oh
the
yeah.
tsunami off the top. That was impressive too, but we'll talk about that
We'll
later.
talk about that later. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that this was just really great. This ended with Rhea Ripley hitting the big rip tide through the
Mhm.
table on Liv Morgan. Perfect way to end the match. Um, I loved Rhea's mask. I
Really
loved
cool,
Rhea's
right?
face paint under the mask too. She's just such a fucking badass, dude.
It
She's gonna
rem
be like, she's gonna be in movies sometime, don't you think?
I would say so. I mean, I hope she just, doesn't get typecast into a, post-apocalyptic warrior type because,
I mean, maybe not typecast, but I think that'd be a good start for her. You
absolutely.
know?
It's a good I mean, I could see her in a Mad Max movie, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think the
That's
quintessential Mad Max woman that's in WWE right now is Zarya in NXT.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The other day, I turned on NXT. I watched it for 5 minutes and I shut it off. I don't even remember what it was, but it was just so bad. And I know that they're doing some good stuff, but it was something that turned me off. And I was like, I'm not watching any more of this.
Hmm. All right.
I have not seen Zarya yet, other than clips.
Yeah, she's cool. She's very
That's what
cool.
that's what I've seen that it's cool, and I know that they're doing some good stuff over there on NXT. But something was just so dumb, and you know what it was? It was the clip with Nikita Lyons and Ashanti, the Adonis.
Oh, because she's terrible.
Yeah, and I turned it on and I was like, God, I'm so pissed off that this is the first thing I turned on, and I shut it off.
You know what's you know what really sucks for her is that
Everything.
not even like before her injury, I thought she was fine. Like I think that for somebody that was in development, um she showed as enough flashes for you to be like, okay, she's like a fair prospect. But since
Athletically,
she met,
sure. But I've never liked her personality or her character or her gimmick, if you will.
since she messed up her knees though, and then like she's not as good of an athlete right now, and you're
She's
bringing
moving
her
like
back as a
O2 Stone
heel.
Cold.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good.
I
She's got
think
the
she needed a lot more time in rehab before coming back.
well, regardless, I am not a big fan, and
I'm not.
it turned me off immediately, and I was like, I am not watching the rest of this
You
show.
know what's annoying about her is that she is the face of appropriating black culture.
Yeah, it's not great, and yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I
Mhm.
just everything about her gives me the ick. I don't like her.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but,
Fair enough. But you
all
know what
right.
I do like? Shinsuke Nakamura.
Now, this was another big surprise. Maybe not a New Day level surprise, but did you see the title change coming here?
Um, I felt like there was a possibility for it to happen. Just the way that they were building up that story of like Shinsuke getting in LA Knight's head, um, him cutting the promo about how LA Knight is terrified of losing everything that he's gained because it's taken him so long to get to that point. He made a lot of really good valid points.
Yeah.
And I think that this Shinsuke character is just yeah, I'm all in on it, man.
I've seen a stop and go for him too many times. It's you know what I mean. I it's hard for me to invest in him this like really hard because is it just going to fizzle out like it always has in the past? I really hope
No,
not.
I don't think so because it's it's a new administration. I know I say this all the time, but like, I think that they actually believe in this character. I mean, they wouldn't if he didn't have such a decisive victory over LA Knight.
Yeah, it was a pretty
Luckily they
decisive
gave
victory.
they
It
gave
was
LA
less than
Knight a
10.
respectable enough title run to
Yeah,
where it's not like it doesn't feel like he got buried or anything like that.
I
I
mean
just think
that was a bit of a squash for a championship match.
I think that Nakamura is just there still is some untapped potential that we haven't seen yet,
Which is crazy because the dude's in his 40s,
Mhm.
right? Like
Exactly.
to
But
think
then
that there's still
you think
stuff he
about a
haven't
lot
seen.
of the wrestlers from the 80s and 90s that like were really
Dead
taking
by
off.
now.
Some of them were in their 40s at that time,
Yeah,
and could still go. So
yeah,
I mean, I think it's the right move. I think Nakamura is going to be a good US champion.
yeah.
They got great babyface opponents on SmackDown that he can go through.
Mhm.
Um, and we'll see what's next for LA Knight. This might lead to LA Knight regaining the championship again at some point. But again, like just like with the New Day, with this Nakamura character, one of the exciting things about it is that we don't know what's going to happen.
Nope.
It does feel fresh and interesting. It doesn't feel like the same old Nakamura.
No, it definitely doesn't. I personally don't like the Miss thing. It's just not for me. Even though I love Shinsuke and I love Asuka, I think it's a typecast thing. I don't for Japanese heels. I don't love it, but
Yeah.
it's there. It's gonna be a thing. I'll deal with it because I do love Nakamura between the ropes and this dark version of him. With the
Love
smeared.
the Kinshasa to the back of the head.
Yeah, I mean
I think
that's
that's
one.
such a new cool wrinkle
Just
to
doing
it.
it to the back of the head rather than to the
Yeah,
front.
it seems like more of an execution. It feels like the hidden blade,
Yeah.
All right, and then next, triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker defended against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Um, this was good. This was just your traditional hard hitting Sheamus type match. Kaiser's a great heel. Set up for the finish with the spear, and yeah,
To me, it's like if you really want to have a great triple threat match in WWE, you add Sheamus to it. It feels like he's the common denominator to every great triple threat match we've seen over
that's
the
a good
last
point. Yeah,
however many years. It's just
I mean,
he's just such a ring general and a glue and a consummate veteran professional that he's
mhm.
just never going to disappoint in the ring. And
Yeah, and the easiest example to go to is that last year, not this past year, but the year before is WrestleMania with the triple threat between Drew, Sheamus, and Gunther.
yep,
Hmm.
yeah, uh, but I think that this was probably my match of the night just because of how hard hitting and excellent it was. Even though all the other ones were just so great, I just think this was the most fun wrestling match. But we'll rank
I
them.
think that's totally fair to say. I don't know if it was my favorite, but I certainly enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very solid. Definitely one of the better triple threat matches of the year,
Mhm.
for sure.
Right.
And then next we had for the World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther. He defeated Damian Priest, choked him out. This was due to interference from Finn Balor. Guess we're starting that over again with
Yeah, I'm bored.
Finn and Damian Priest. Yeah, I know.
I'm bored with
Um,
it.
but hey, the one good thing coming out of this is we are going to be getting Gunther versus Finn Balor. And I think that's going to be a really, really good match. And it
Yeah.
does seem like it seems like Gunther is kind of tweening a bit. Like they're
A little
not
bit.
really like he was upset that Finn interfered in this match. He wanted to prove to everyone that he can beat Damian Priest all by himself, and Finn ruined that moment.
Mhm.
So I think the fact that Gunther is a strong champion, he's proud, he can be a little bit arrogant, but the fact that he's proud and just such an ass kicker that's going to get the fans on his side pretty easily.
Yeah, and Finn Balor is such a good heel. If that's the route they're going to go, and Damian Priest is going to go sort of fade to the background, because if we get Priest and Gunther again, I'm just going to yawn through the whole match because I'm
I
kind of
yeah. I mean, like I didn't think this was a bad match at all.
no, no, it was
I
good.
think Priest has gotten a lot better. I really
No,
do.
I've enjoyed it. I just think it's been going on for too long.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't think Priest is bad. I don't think Gunther is bad. I don't think anything about it is bad. Um I just think the Judgment Day has kind of run its course in my opinion, and Priest and Gunther has run its course in my
Yeah,
opinion.
they kind of need to wrap it up with the Judgment Day, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
All right, then finally our main event. OG Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk versus the new Bloodline, Solo, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. Yeah, men's war game match. I was pleasantly surprised that the baby faces won here. I was fully expecting something to happen where the heels ended up winning. I was even anticipating a return from like The Rock to come out and help the new bloodline. But I was pleasantly surprised that, the baby faces won here. I'm interested to see how the story is going to progress now.
Mhm.
Um come Friday on SmackDown. Are we gonna? We'll probably end up getting like Roman versus Solo one-on-one. I would imagine, maybe
Yeah.
even Roman versus Jacob Fatu. Who knows? But I will say, just like Io Sky in the women's match, Jacob Fatu is probably the MVP of this match, in that he was just all over the place, just looking unstoppable. I think he looked the best. I think the moment of the match for sure was Bronson Reed going through the table. As much as we hate on CM Punk so much, I think the timing of him pulling Roman Reigns from the table on the Bronson Reed splash couldn't have been better. And it actually did look really good.
No, the whole thing was great. I believed that Roman was going to get hit. I did. I didn't believe it was going to end the match or anything, but I bought it.
Yeah.
I mean, we do hate on CM Punk a lot, but the man is a professional wrestler. He's been doing this a long fucking time, and he still has really strong instincts, even if his body can't necessarily always do it. We've seen that a lot in his WWE run and in his AEW run as well. Doesn't mean his brain isn't still all the way intact when it comes to knowing what to do when it comes to enhancing a match or scripting a match even.
Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, I thought this was really good, though.
Let me tell you what I found really silly about it, though. Like, the whole entire cage is open on the top, but it took Roman Reigns like 5 minutes to be like, oh man, it's locked. I can't get in. Like, it was just it felt so drawn out. Like, bro, it's open. Just climb.
It didn't feel as drawn out to me as maybe it did to you.
I don't know why it felt so drawn out.
It felt, at least he reached his conclusion of, oh, I can just climb in over the cage.
It just seems like such an immediate thought to me. But I guess you're the tribal chief. You can take as much time as you want and do whatever it is you need to do. But to me, I was just like, man, like, is he smarter than that?
Yeah,
smarter than that.
I did like just the little interactions of Roman, calling the shots of who's going to come out next.
Oh,
in the moment with CM Punk. Yeah, that was good shit. And it told the story of, can we trust CM Punk? Eventually they knew that they could. I don't fully think that the door is closed on the possibility of a CM Punk versus Roman match at some point. They can certainly come back to that.
There's a lot of heel turn seeds that I think CM Punk planted in this match. So to me, I think that we could get CM Punk and Roman at WrestleMania. At Royal Rumble.
I don't think we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins
at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I do. Man, did Seth just spit some truth in that promo? But I also liked that Sammy came out and Seth took such offense to Sammy teaming with CM Punk, but Sammy was still said the logical line of like, dude, we asked you twice to be part of this team and you said no. Like, what is your problem? You know what I mean? So
Sammy is always the voice of reason. I feel like in every single like group conversation, he's just the one that's like, but guys, it's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that opening segment was great too. And if it wasn't for the New Day segment, that would have been the moment everyone would be talking about this week, right? Don't you think?
And I don't think we even really touched on it in the group.
No,
chat.
we didn't because we're so clouded by this New Day stuff.
Yeah.
But that was great too, and I'm really it's interesting that they're going to be positioning seemingly Seth Rollins as the heel in this situation. And if that does happen, like, I want to see another like layer of Seth Rollins, just because like Seth Rollins acting like such a locker room leader and a tough guy and someone that's defending the turf. It kind of, when he's wearing like a fishnet t-shirt, it takes me out of the moment a little bit.
You don't like fishnet t-shirts?
I don't know, man. Like I just think that his style needs to align more with his attitude. You know, like when he's being silly and shit like that, that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, bro, dress like Elton John. Fucking who cares? But like when he's like, you know, really trying to defend the turf and say like call CM Punk a fraud and shit like that. I don't want him doing that when he's dressed like fucking Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't resonate quite as hard, but
Yeah.
I mean, I always get a kick out of the way he
Yeah,
dresses.
still do you even remember when Riddle and Seth Rollins had their blood feud too
Oh
with
my
each other? And then Riddle comes out for the match wearing like Patrick Star ring attire. I
God.
was just like, bro, like you don't fucking wear that when you like hate somebody.
It was bad. It was not a blood feud
No,
gear. No.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, I guess while we have some time, we will talk some AEW.
Yeah. We can talk some AEW. I know that AEW is in a bit of a down period right now.
It is,
According
and I think we kind of need to dissect some of those things. I think one of the main things in AEW that's kind of making people go, is just like the forcefulness of this MJF and Adam Cole storyline. You know, it's kind of like they're just doing it out of necessity for the fact that last year they weren't able to complete that story because of injury to Adam Cole, and then MJF ended up getting injured, and then it just didn't happen for a very long time, and then we're here, and they kind of like rewrote the narrative of like, and suddenly, you know, Adam Cole is the baby face, and like he turned on MJF because he wanted to do it before MJF did it, and it's a fucking mess, man. And
well,
I feel like
I
everybody can
think
see it.
MJF did a nice little job of sort of talking it back a little bit this week. A little bit.
They're
I'm
they're
not
doing
defending. I'm not
they're
defending.
doing the best they can, trying to make it work for just a bad storyline. You know,
Yeah.
the guys are very talented on the mic,
And
but it's just
hopefully World's End is the end of it. You know what I mean? And they move on. But there
it's
are
just
some
so
layers
many
of it.
layers. I mean,
There's some layers of it that I enjoy too, though, because I enjoy the Kyle O'Reilly sort of trying to talk some sense into Adam Cole. You know, I've enjoyed that because of their, you know, storied history. So, you know, I
it's kind of weird. I mean,
it's weird, but they have history, so it's not like it's coming out of nowhere, right? You
yeah.
know, it's not completely like if you pay attention to the show and you know any of the history, which some do, some don't that watch AEW. I think a
Mhm.
good portion of them at this point know the history between O'Reilly and Roddy and Cole, but I don't know. It's a
100%,
bit of a
but
mess, and I'm hoping it comes to a head, but it's not the worst fucking storyline I've ever seen in my life. That's all I'll say.
yeah,
It's not killing me.
it's just it's it.
It
I
just
don't
needs to
know.
be
It's
over. It
not
just
doing
needs
it
to
for
be
me.
over.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It just needs to be over with. It's fine.
Hmm.
Find something new for them. They're both too talented to be going through this muck.
Hmm. I think that another thing that's kind of bringing down AEW a little bit is that there's just not really that much effort being put into the women's division as there was before. It feels that way, at
I
least.
I don't know. I think they have some pretty strong different feuds and people coming back. I don't think the women's division is I don't think it's as strong or prevalent as it's been in the past, but I don't think it's a weak
I think
point.
Mercedes and Chris is good.
Mercedes and
Um,
Chris is good. Mercedes
we're
and Anna
good,
Jay is the next route, and I think
and
that
I don't know if that's the right answer. It just
as a
I,
short-term feud, it's okay.
I
It's all right. Anna Jay has gotten a lot better after her excursion, And
They're
I
just kind
think
of forcing it though. Like I just think that there are more deserving women on the roster that have been at it a lot longer than
sure,
Anna Jay. I think that the smart thing for them to do once she drops the title, bring Athena back and have her be the challenger next for Mercedes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I think that they're treading water until that happens, and then on the women and on the women's championship side, they're treading water until Tony is back. And I like the Mina stuff. I like
I love
Mina
the
and
Venus stuff.
I do think that they've kind of done a disservice putting putting Mariah May mostly on Collision and not enough time on Dynamite as of late.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment because I often miss Collision, to be honest with you, because I typically work early on Sunday mornings. So I
Yeah.
miss so I don't typically
Let's face it, Collision's just it's not a good time slot
it's
really
not.
for anyone.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's if you don't DVR it, you're not gonna typically watch it live,
Hmm.
because you're either working or you're going out. It's not a great time slot, but it's definitely a fantastic in-ring show, and it's unfortunate that I don't get to watch it, especially now that you know the
Continental Classic is happening. I guess we need
yeah,
to watch Rampage now too, because they're gonna have Continental Classic matches on Rampage.
you know
So
I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, it's a lot of matches, so I understand why they have to do it in that short period of time.
mhm.
But it's tough to watch all those shows, and you know, I don't know, especially when you have to work and you have life going on too. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
absolutely.
you know,
Just coming out of the pay-per-view though, I think that there were really some bright spots. I think that
mhm,
Fletcher and Osprey is a bona fide match of the year candidate. That
absolutely.
was absolutely outstanding. I think
Mhm.
that Osprey did his job making a star out of Kyle Fletcher. Um, was Kyle Fletcher was he going to become a star despite Osprey? Probably, but
Maybe,
but but
maybe,
Osprey
maybe
putting
not.
him over this big was just brilliant, and I thought they knocked it out of the park there. Um,
I actually didn't see that coming. I thought Osprey was going to go over in that match.
I
Honestly,
thought he was too, and if Fletcher was going to go over, I thought it would be by nefarious means.
yeah, more nefarious means.
Hmm. Um, I mean, other good things coming out of the pay per view too. I thought Jay White and Adam Page had an awesome match as they always have. I
Yeah,
think that Jay White, this babyface run for him is really benefiting him, and it's really making people care about his
it's
character.
been his best work since he's been in AEW, and I've been a fan
Yeah,
the whole time. I've always sung the praises of Jay White. This has been the most entertaining he's been, getting big wins, getting over big on people.
yeah,
Like this past Dynamite, you know what I mean? Like he ended up ultimately losing the war, but you
hmm
know, winning matches, getting shots in,
yeah,
just being a fiery ass renegade babyface is just fantastic.
yeah, yeah, without a doubt. And the positioning of him and Moxley, I think that is a great feud for Moxley. And
It's
they're going to have an awesome main event match against each other. I will say the main event of the pay per view, really just the end of that match left a really bad taste in my mouth.
why is that?
Um, because it just felt extremely random, like they pour the fluid onto Orange Cassidy, and that's your normal Death Riders tactics after the match. But then
Murder.
Hangman comes out, who's been positioned as a heel this whole time. He gets in Mox's face. And then Christian comes out, who's been positioned as a heel this whole time. He gets in there. And then Jay White comes out, and it was just too many things happening at once to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the icing on the cake for me, and you know where I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Right at the end of the show, the Death Riders are leaving. They had to peel out of the arena because somebody was like following them. Somebody in a car tried to like run them over, and it was Darby. And for that to be like a big reveal at the end of a pay per view, it's just so meh to me. Like he's somebody like this isn't anything new with Darby. I feel like Darby's having a fucking temper tantrum every fucking week, you know, and he's continuing to lose matches on
Yeah.
it too. So like he doesn't even have like credibility before like okay, you're that guy you want to fight for AEW, but then you lose all the time. And it's just like how the fuck can I get behind this guy? Honestly, like, and I'm not taking anything away from his talent. I just think that the booking has just been weird.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit cloudy right now. I mean, Christian having that briefcase or the contract or whatever the hell you want to, the money in the bank,
Mhm.
uh just kind of muddies it up a little bit, right? I like Hangman, who I know is positioned as a heel, but he's still very much the heart of AEW, right?
Mhm.
So to me, him coming out then to to get in Mox's face, who he already has a history with, and then doing it again this week on Dynamite, it makes sense, right? Because he's a lunatic, but he still you know loves AEW. If it wasn't
Mhm.
for him, you know what I mean, it would be you know
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Uh yeah. So I also want to touch on this the Hurt business or Hurt Syndicate
Hurt
right now.
Syndicate.
Um that's a bright spot of AEW programming.
Yeah,
Especially the performances of Mr. Shelton Benjamin. He is just this is
rejuvenated.
a rejuvenated run for him to say the
Yep.
very least. I like that on Wednesday Fletcher had to cheat to beat him just to
Mhm.
kind of save Shelton as a very credible challenger. I'm sure he's going to take a clean loss or two in this tournament.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I wanted him to win.
I wouldn't
He's
mind if
the,
he
he's
won either.
he's the guy I'm pulling for to win out of
Mhm.
everybody. To be completely honest with you, but I don't see that as happening.
Yeah, yeah. But dude, when I'm thinking like I thought that Lashley going over Swerve was the right call. I think the match
100%,
probably could have been a little bit longer, maybe a
maybe.
little bit more heel tactics. But then again, this is Bobby Lashley's pay-per-view debut.
Yeah,
Maybe you want him to go over clean, make him look really strong. I understand that.
and
Um,
Swerve's not losing anything with a loss other than his own
so
proud.
what I want to see happen over the
Okay.
next couple of weeks to a month is that I want to see, first of all, they're already planting the seeds. I'd like to see Max Caster go with the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, after what happened this past week on Dynamite, I'm gonna say that I don't know that he's necessarily going to be welcomed in after he got squashed.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but I don't know. You don't know how that story is gonna go. Maybe
I don't either, but
yeah. But
I
I
did.
also think that of the all the people that have been given cards by the Hurt Syndicate, I think the individual that would benefit the most from an association with this group would be Ricochet. Because I feel like Ricochet, even though he's in AEW right now, he still kind of feels like the same guy.
He's
You
floundering
know,
a little bit.
I feel like we need to see, much like with the New Day, we need to see like a new wrinkle to this guy's game. I want to see him be a cocky son of a bitch. I mean,
Give him that.
recently, and this is started a fire in our group text. He said that AEW wouldn't exist without him. And to an extent, I do agree with that
I've only
because,
read the headlines on the clickbait. I
yeah,
haven't read what he actually said.
I mean, to an extent, I agree with that because he was somebody that really brought forth that kind of style and popularized it
Yeah,
through PWG, through Japan, the viral clip with him and Osprey. Uh, he
Jay
was a
White.
big part of that, and
Yeah.
like, and even if you took that from a heel perspective of like, oh, this place wouldn't be here without me, I kind of like that coming from Ricochet. And I think that him associating with MVP and Shelton, and I think the way that this is going to play out is I think that Ricochet is going to he's going to have a strong performance, but he's going to come up short in the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
And I think he's just going to, MVP is going to come to him and just be like, hey, the offer's still out there. And I think eventually we get a heel Ricochet rejuvenated against Osprey.
Okay. I mean, he's definitely been floundering a little bit in, that upper mid card sort of role. So
And surprisingly, that match against Takeshita, just kind of there. It was fine, but by no means did it steal the show, and it certainly had show stealing potential.
yep,
You
I
know,
agree with you there.
I just think that we need to see something new from Ricochet. And I think that him joining this group would definitely be the answer.
A heel turn of some form.
And he would fit so great into the group because nobody in that group does what he does.
No.
They have like all different styles of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, guess what other things do I want to talk about here in AEW? So here's something that kind of came to my mind just looking at these results.
Okay.
There was an attack on Camille that happened backstage.
Okay.
Who do
That
you
happened.
think that might have been?
I mean, it would be nice if it was Megan Bain, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
But it's probably just Mercedes.
I don't know. You think so?
Probably.
I think that's just too obvious.
Yeah, but maybe it's her new heater.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because Megan Bain deserves to be on AEW programming because she's a far superior wrestler to Camille.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
just as powerful.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Let's try to see what we didn't talk about. Jay White and Pac was an awesome match. First time ever.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'd like to see that run back with a little bit more time to it because that was just man, again, Jay White just doing the best work of his career.
What do you think of the fact that Pac this entire time has never worn street clothes?
I think it's fantastic. I hope that's how he had Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah,
honestly, I think
he's super wet at the table. His
he
hair is just getting all over the food.
And his wrestling gear just with conditioner just greased up. That's the way it should be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually seen Pac in street clothes?
Like when he was in NXT back in the day.
Yeah, but like ever on like his Instagram or anything like that?
I don't think so.
God, he's a nerd, bro.
Yeah, is he?
Like I saw him in this like he was squeezed into this fucking polo shirt and it was like buttoned all the way up and like he had glasses on and his hair like tied back and he just looked like the biggest fucking dork. And I say that as a huge dork. I would probably look similar to him.
That's kind of what he looked like when he was in NXT in street clothes.
Yeah, it's just
not any different.
He looked but it was like plaid.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't just like a regular like plain polo. It was definitely a nerdy polo.
Mm.
I half expected him to have a pocket protector.
All right. So I guess we'll just end with this. Like of the matches you've seen so far in the Continental Classic, what have you enjoyed the most?
I absolutely fucking loved Claudio and Brody King.
Yeah. It
Um,
was just it was a scrap.
and Garcia and Okada was just kind of a Continental classic.
I think Claudio and Brody King um could have easily fit into that triple threat match that we were talking to earlier with Sheamus and the
Absolutely.
Big and Braun Breaker. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
those are all guys that are kind of that same
ilk.
bruiser
Yeah.
style ilk.
Throw
Yeah.
throw just throw Sheamus in there to have a triple threat with both of them, and
Mhm.
it would be a fucking banger, as he likes
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean Claudio and Sheamus, man, like they
yeah,
were the bar, they
yeah.
were tag team champions. They had fucking awesome matches with each
That was
other.
a that was an underrated tag team championship run.
Yeah,
It really was. It's not one that
absolutely.
people bring up all the time, but
No.
boy, and what led up to them becoming the tag team and then ultimately the champions was what that best of 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it's kind of like thinking about that whole run, like I feel like to that point with Sheamus teaming with Cesaro, at that point, like Sheamus had kind of like lost his luster. I feel like
yeah,
he was kind of people were just sick of his act, over just the fella shit, and just he was just getting so old,
yep,
so outplayed. And I feel like that breathed new life into him. And then came the Brawling Brutes and
mhm.
just his. It just seems like in the last few years, Sheamus has really solidified himself as a Hall of Famer and
Uh,
a player in WWE.
Absolutely, the ultimate role player. Him and like when you think about guys that you can just plug in to do whatever, and it just comes down into mind is just him and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
To me, that those are two guys that no matter what happens, you can pull them out of the hat.
Hmm.
Babyface, heel. If you need somebody as a champion, they can do the run for you. Like
Hmm.
it's just fantastic.
Yeah. And you know what that reminds me? We haven't even touched on just how good the Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes stuff has been too.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
haven't seen a lot of it because I miss SmackDown most weeks. I can see Raw more often than I can see SmackDown.
I think just from a business standpoint, it was pretty smart move to leave that feud off of Survivor Series and have it be the headline match for Saturday night's main event.
Okay, when's that?
That's gonna be like in a week or two,
Oh,
and
really?
I think it's gonna be the commentary return of Jesse the Body Ventura.
Ah, Jesus Christ. That's gonna be a fucking disaster.
I can't wait to just. I'm no like yeah, it is gonna
It's,
be a disaster,
it's
but it's
gonna
gonna
be
be one of those
insane.
disasters that you enjoy because you can't wait to hear what he's gonna say next.
Oh my god, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a fucking train wreck. I'm gonna watch.
Can't believe I left the Baja for this.
I'm absolutely gonna watch, but no,
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like a good time.
I think it will be, man. It just lighten up and just be aware that he's gonna say something fucking crazy.
I can't. I
Love
mean, it's gonna. I'm just saying. I hope the censors are ready. That's all.
it. Yeah. All right, so I think that's enough for today.
Think
Dan, do
so.
we have anything left?
I got nothing else, man. I'm just. I'm excited because you just told me about Saturday night's main event, and I totally forgot that that was coming up. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
pumped
they
for
got
that.
the old music back for it too. It's so cool.
I'm
Um,
I'm hyped for the rest of the Continental Classic. I'm gonna be
yeah,
scouring, probably doing my best to, if I miss Collision, at least go back and watch the matches that are involved in the C2. But
yeah, man. You know what? I missed. I missed Okada versus Garcia,
that's
and
a
I
bummer.
do need to go back and see that because I got a feeling that that would probably be my favorite match of the classic so far. But again, I didn't watch it, so
It
I
was
need to
very
go back
good.
and see that.
It was very good.
So,
All
all
right.
right. As always, guys. follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and check out our link tree. All our great links are there. And Dan, do you have anything left for us?
I'm starting a new job soon, so I don't know what kind of timing we're having or time I'll have off, but should be good to go. Hopefully, we'll be back live and kicking next week. And stay fresh, cheese bags.
Man.
Thanks, brother.
Stay fresh, cheese bags, and keep watching wrestling.